My name's Anne Marie, and I have been in and about New Orleans for my entire life. I'm 51, and I've been going to Mardi Gras on and off since I was as far back as I can remember. When I first started going to Mardi Gras, there were about a tenth of the people that were going. So when I was a kid going to Mardi Gras, there were a lot less parades, maybe two on Mardi Gras Day, Zulu and Rex, which were the two big ones on Mardi Gras Day, and maybe one or two that were happening other than that. And when you'd go to Mardi Gras in the 70s, they weren't throwing stuff constantly like they are today. They were just throwing, very selectively throwing what was glass beads that were being made in Indochina area. And so these beautiful glass beads were being imported, and it was very special if you caught them. You might catch 3 or 4 the whole parade. Your dad might catch 3 or 4. And so there was that and the doubloons. And then in the 90s, what happened is New Orleans became such a unique place to come and visit because it's kind of like a third world country, unlike any other city in the United States. Everyone wants to come to Mardi Gras and try and get a little part of that magic and mystery of what has become Mardi Gras. So all these parades started coming about. And so fast forward to today, you've got parades that happen every night for an entire week prior to Mardi Gras Day, which is on a Tuesday, which is also known as Fat Tuesday. And every night there are parades with people on floats that are costumed and throwing as much as they possibly can to people screaming for plastic beads imported from China. Now, one of the ways that they look at the success of Mardi Gras now with all these massive parades is they collect garbage. And yesterday's total, which is not complete because they're still offloading all these containers of garbage, but there was 630 tons as of yesterday. So that's just what people don't pack up and put in their suitcase and take home after they leave the city. So you can imagine how much garbage is flying out of here and driving out of here as well. So nowadays they throw tons of plastic stuff, tons of plastic cups, tons of plastic beads, then there's all the plastic that everything's wrapped in, and all of that gets thrown on the street by people who could care less because it's so much that they just, it's no longer special to catch a lot of stuff. However, occasionally it's special to catch still a doubloon, which is a metal coin that usually has the insignia of that parade on it. And they also throw fun, blinky stuff, which is also can be a little bit on the special side when you're wanting to get lit. A nice contrast of parades that we went to. The first parade was Proteus, which is still done in the style of the late 1800s. I think it was 1886, mid-1880s, when there was the French papier-mâché artist that came over and decided to have it be more of a spectacle of looking at the floats. And so the first parade that we went to was still designed by a group called Royal Artist, and they still followed the traditional method of float design and creation. And then the second parade, and Proteus also still pulls they build the floats still on the old wagon wheels made of steel and wood. So as the floats are going down the road, you get to see the natural movement of these wheels creaking along the streets, leaving nice metal scratched street marks as they go by, which is kind of fun to see the remnants of that, opposed to the Super Crew, which is Orpheus, created by a very well-known musician, Harry Connick Jr. He is a native New Orleanian, and in the 90s, there was a great demand by people to want to be a part of Mardi Gras in the spectacle way of being on a float with lights and sound. And since he was a musician, he decided that he was going to create a very over-the-top, elaborate parade that each float has a sound system. And so to add to the crowd's participation, you've got each float going by with music that kind of stimulates the crowd. It used to just be the marching bands go by and stimulate the crowd, and people really like that, but now you have these mega crews like Orpheus that have sound systems, and it's fun for folks because it gets people dancing and having a good time. So those are the parades, the big ones like we saw Orpheus. They, they're generating a lot of stuff putting out there for people to get. So, Mardi Gras Day, from my experience, is a day to go back to the original intention of what Mardi Gras was. The original festivities of Mardi Gras was communal. It was interactive with your fellow mankind. Whereas the parades became the spectacle of watching what's happening and people pretending to be royalty and pretending to be mysterious and pretending to be someone that everyone wanted to get something from by throwing it to them into the crowd as they were down below begging for a trinket. And so that's what Mardi Gras became, but yet Mardi Gras Day is an opportunity for every man or woman or person to become whoever they want to become for the day through the mystique of costuming or not, or attired or not, costume is sort of a requirement of the day, and it's an opportunity to feel a bit of the magic in a way that you only get to experience if you're open to all of humankind, because it's an opportunity to have interactions with people that you would not normally have interactions with. And so even though you might set out the day wanting to see your closest friends on Mardi Gras Day, you're going to cross paths with people you may not have seen in 4 or 5 years, or you're going to cross paths with people that you never met but yet you end up having a great conversation with, or a great shtick with that has to do with your costume, or some sort of thing that I really like about Mardi Gras is you head out on Mardi Gras Day, and even though you may not do the same route of parading about in your costume, you're going to run into people, the same people, every year, even if you started 4 hours later than you normally start, in this 20 square block area. Part of the magic of Mardi Gras Day for me is that you run into people that you want to run into and you want to cross paths with, and you want to have a celebration of life with them, whether it's a hug and a toast or a cheer or a whatever. It's just nice to celebrate life with the community that you live in.